There is a hidden tax on your business that doesn't appear on any balance sheet, yet it is likely the single largest drain on your net profit. It isn't the government levy, and your accountant can't write it off. It is the ego tax. In the next 300 seconds, we aren't talking about being a nice person or improving your emotional intelligence. We are conducting an autopsy on the cold, mathematical reality of how your need to be right is actively strangling your growth. Traditional academia ignores this because it's hard to quantify. But in the real world, the ego tax is the premium you pay for the privilege of being the smartest person in the room. If you are currently feeling stuck, if your top talent is leaving, or if your decision-making feels sluggish, you aren't facing a market problem. You are paying a tax you didn't know you owed. Why does this happen? Most leaders don't hire people to solve problems. They subconsciously hire people to validate their own opinions. This creates the confirmation bias penalty. When you are an ego-driven leader, you don't want the best idea to win. You want your idea to win. Think about your last high-stakes meeting. Did you listen to understand? Or did you listen to find a gap so you could reassert your authority? When you prioritize your status over solution seeking, you become the ultimate bottleneck. Every decision must pass through your personal filter of how does this make me look? This delays action, kills innovation, and creates a culture of obedience rather than a culture of excellence. In the digital economy, speed is the only sustainable competitive advantage. Ego is the friction that kills speed. By the time you've finished defending your outdated strategy to your team, a younger, leaner, and lower ego competitor has already pivoted and captured your market share. Top 1% don't work for money alone. They work for impact and the ability to exercise their expertise. When an A player presents a data-driven insight that contradicts your gut feeling and you shut them down to protect your seniority, you have just signed their resignation letter. They won't quit immediately, but they will quietly exit. They will stop bringing you their best ideas. They will stop flagging risks. They will wait for their bonus, and then they will take your proprietary knowledge, your trade secrets, and your internal processes straight to your biggest competitor. The cost to replace a high-level executive is often 2x to 3x their annual salary. That is the ego tax in raw dollars. If you lose 3 top-tier managers because you couldn't handle being corrected in public, you haven't just had a bad year for HR. You have suffered a multi-million-dollar capital loss. You paid a 7-figure tax just to feel superior for 15 minutes. Was the feeling worth the invoice? The ego tax is most visible in negotiations. In commercial realism, we understand that a deal is only successful if it is sustainable. However, an ego-driven leader doesn't optimize for value. They optimize for victory. They want to crush the other side. They want to walk away feeling like they took every single cent off the table. This is a strategic disaster. When you squeeze a partner, a supplier, or a client so hard that they feel disrespected, you haven't won. You've created a hidden enemy. They will fulfill the contract, but they will do the bare minimum. They won't go the extra mile. They won't refer you to their network, and the moment they have a chance to walk away, they will. A low-ego leader understands that winning is a long-term game of compound interest. They are willing to look weak in the short term by giving up small concessions or admitting a mistake. If it secures a decade of loyalty and recurring revenue, the ego tax is the premium you pay for winning the argument but losing the relationship. In the world of high-stakes business, the person who doesn't mind who gets the credit is the person who usually walks away with the most cash. If someone on your team breaks your idea, they haven't attacked you. They have saved you from a market failure. You need to decouple your identity from your ideas. You are not your strategy. You are the architect of the strategy. If the blueprints are wrong, a good architect wants to know before the building collapses. Start practicing the strong opinions, weakly held framework. Have the courage to make a bold, decisive claim, but have the professional discipline to discard it the moment the data proves you wrong. When you trade your ego for evidence, your decision-making speed doesn't just double, it scales. You stop defending the past and start capturing the future. Stop managing for obedience. Start leading for evidence. The market is a cold, indifferent judge. It doesn't care about your tenure, your title, or your feelings. It only cares about who solves the problem most efficiently. When you stop paying the ego tax, you suddenly find the capital you need to dominate your sector. The most successful leaders in history share a dark matter trait. They are aggressively curious and radically open to being wrong. They realize that the faster they admit a mistake, the faster they can correct the course. Every minute you spend defending a bad decision is a minute you aren't making a profitable one. The ego tax is optional. You can choose to stop paying it today. It starts by walking into your next meeting and asking, "What am I missing?" and actually meaning it. It ends by realizing that your primary job is not to be the source of all answers, but the curator of the best ones. Your ego wants a monument. Your business wants a margin. Choose the margin. Stop being right and start being successful. This is the end of the briefing. Subscribe to the 300 Seconds University for more concise, high-stakes insights that traditional education never dared to teach you. Class is dismissed.